Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shruti Mathur from Sri Venkateshwara College. Welcome to the module on Solver, which is a tool in MS Excel. In this session, we will talk about how Solver is a tool in MS Excel. We will discuss how Solver can be loaded if it is not already there in MS Excel. And we will talk about the application of Solver in linear programming with the help of an example. What is Solver? Solver helps in finding the optimal solution for a problem. For example, an organization may want to maximize its sales or minimize its cost. This is referred to as objective function. However, normally there may be constraints to attaining this function. For example, there may be limited supply of inputs or there may be demand constraints for the product. Such problems are optimized using the Solver tool. Solver normally is not already loaded in Excel. So if you have never used Solver, you may have to load it first. The loading can be done through a series of these steps that you can see from the file menu. So let me directly take you to the worksheet and show you how the loader can be loaded. Of course, in my case, loader is already there because I have used it earlier. So go to the File tab, then click on Options. Excel Options dialog box opens. From here, select Add-ins. From here, you can see at the bottom there is Manage Excel Add-ins over here. Click on Go. The Excel Add-ins dialog box opens, which shows you a number of add-ins which are available. Just check the Solver add-in box and click on OK. Solver will be loaded in your Excel under the Data tab and Analysis group of commands. So you can see the Solver will be here. Now let us discuss the application of Solver. We will take an example. Suppose there is a company that makes two kinds of furniture, chairs and tables. The company can make both, but it is constrained by the limited amount of labor, wood and equipments which are available each month. The manager will choose the combination of furniture that maximizes his profits as per the information given in the table. So we are given that the per unit profit of chair is 200 and table per unit profit is 300 rupees. Further, I am given the input required to produce 1 unit of output. So if I have to produce 1 unit of chair, then I require 3 labor hours, 5 units of wood and 2 equipments. If I have to make a table, single table requires 3 hours of labor, 2 hours of wood and 6 hours of equipment. The maximum availability of labor is 720 per month. The wood is available 1000 units per month and only 1200 units of equipment are available per month. Using the appropriate Excel tool, that is Solver, we will formulate the above problem and calculate how many chairs and tables will be produced by the company in order to maximize its profit. We will also calculate what will be the profit attained by the company. So let us come back to our Excel sheet. Here on this sheet, I have already added the given inputs. So I have mentioned what is the profit per unit. Right now, number of units being produced is 0 because I will be using Solver to identify how many units are needed. I have written how many inputs, how many units of inputs are required for each of the product, and I have written the maximum availability of each of the inputs. The first thing that I do is I calculate what is my objective function. Now what is my objective function? My objective function is to maximize profits. So I will calculate what is the total profit. How will I calculate total profit? Total profit will be equal to the number of units of chair that are produced multiplied by the profit per chair plus number of tables produced multiplied by the profit per table. So I will enter this in terms of a formula equal to number of chairs multiplied by the profit per chair plus number of tables multiplied by the profit per table. Of course, the answer right now will be 0 because I am taking 0 units are being produced. But this is my objective function that I have defined. Next, I am going to compute my resources used. Now, for producing these many units of chairs and tables, how much labor am I going to require? How much wood am I going to use? And how many equipments are required? That is what I will calculate in these yellow cells. So starting with labor, how much total labor will I require? I will require labor equal to the number of units of chair. That means the number of chairs that I make, and I am making this reference absolute because I will be copying it down the column, multiplied by the number of labor hours required to make one chair plus the number of tables that are produced. I'm just clicking on the cell references of the appropriate cells. Please notice, multiplied by the number of the labor hours required to make one table. So $B $5 into B8 plus $C $5 into C8. This is my formula for calculating labor. Right now it is 0 because, like I said, we are not producing anything. So I will just copy this down the column for the other two resources also. Now we are ready to use the solver. So going to the data tab and selecting solver from the analysis group of commands, the solver parameters dialog box opens. Now in this solver parameters dialog box, the first thing that it asks me is set objective. What is set objective? Set objective is that cell contains my objective function. So what is my objective function? To maximize profit. Where have I calculated the total profit? In this pink cell that you can see over here. So I am going to give reference of this cell, which is F5. It automatically takes an absolute reference. Next, what do I want to do? Do I want to maximize or minimize? I want to maximize my profit, so I will select max. Next, it asks me by changing variable cells. Now, what are variable cells? Variable cells are those cells whose value is to be determined. What are we trying to see? We are trying to see how many chairs and how many tables are going to be produced. So, what are my variable cells? The number of chairs and the number of tables, which is my green cells that you can see. So, B5 to C5 are my changing variable cells. Next, it asks me subject to constraint. Now, what are the constraints that I have? The constraint that I have is that the resources that I am using should be less than or equal to their maximum availability. Now, either I can type the entire thing or simply I can go to add and it will ask me how to make the equation. So, I'll give the cell reference of the first constraint. That means labor used should be less than or equal to, if this symbol is not shown, then you can use from here also. Right now it is shown. So this labor utilized should be less than equal to maximum. What you can use is the maximum availability. This cell, I am giving reference to the cell containing the maximum labor that can be used. Now if I only have one constraint, then I will just click OK. But I have two more constraints to add, so I will add a constraint. The next constraint again is the yellow cell that I have for wood that I have calculated is less than equal to, what is my constraint? Constraint is 1000. I add one more, which is equipment. So I have used these many units of the equipment and this should be less than equal to the total number of units of equipment available. Now I have added all my constraints, so I will click on OK. Now it is showing me all the constraints. Let me just check. My constraints are that my resources, that means this E10 should be less than equal to F10, E8 should be less than equal to F8 and E9 should be less than equal to F9. So all three constraints are there. I will select the solving method. Now I am using linear programming, so I will use simplex LP. And I will click on solve. When I click on solve, it asks me whether I want to keep the solution or I want to restore the original values. I want to keep the solver solution and click on OK. Now you can see that it has given me the solution. It has filled how many units of chairs and tables should be produced, and it is also showing me the final profit on producing those units. So I should make, for maximizing my profits, I should make 60 chairs and 180 tables, and this will give a total profit of 66,000. So this is how the solver helps in solving the linear programming problems. Thank you.